error trying to load. Hold on. Let's see, it should have started. Yes. Hello then folks, welcome and welcome back to this Pxy-VERSE, and today will be not very long, right? It's the weekend, but we're gonna show some cool stuff for this development here of this scene for a 3D webcomics project on YouTube. So it will be a hybrid audiovisual, graphic novel, storyboarding, animatic, story reel, and hybrid language, right? And we here are creating assets for the what would be the first, not page, but let's say the first sequence. I don't know even how to call it, the first cinematic. So there will only be this character in this first appearance, right? And she is called Dorothy, and here is her room or lounge, but we don't have this connected to anything else here. So one of the assets, I was researching how to make some more space landscape here. We got some weird stuff going on there, but this is not the topic. So I've just got a great... I was watching some tutorials on how to make those space landscapes, like on Blender, like vanilla Blender, right? No add-ons, no download stuff, just from scratch. And it turns out that there are some good content out there already. Not satisfied by the shaders one yet, but I'm still researching, and I've attempted to do some crazy stuff already, right? But apparently we can use a radial stuff, gradient radial, and the shader editor to create some swirling effect, like a twisting, like a... But we can also do something like this with geometry nodes, and I feel like geometry nodes is much cooler than the shader in many ways. There's also some volumetric approach, but I think that is a bit too heavy. It's not exactly what I would need here, so I will still make some tests, also because this EV, maybe it's in Blender 4.4.3, who knows, I'm not sure. Maybe it holds certain improvements regarding the volumetrics in relation to Cycle's render engine. Cycle is, yeah, I have never tested again, right, after many years from now. So it probably had some improvements, at least performance wise, but maybe how the ray tracing works would work with volumes in VV. Maybe there's many things that were so what we're gonna do here, I'm gonna show something that I've improved, and I'm still not sure how I'm gonna use. So there are many ways already. So you see, this thing is totally crazy. This is actually the file is not here. Okay, so I've recorded a... So this is geometry nodes, basically. It's pretty cool, and you see I'm trying to render this with transparency in the background. So 2 tutorials I had to make this. It's super simple, but of course without a good tutorial this will be nightmarish to try from scratch. So the tutorial that I found that shows very good tutorials really, where it would be in my list, let's see. Create a galaxy. It's not this one, right? This one is the next one I'm gonna watch, but I have a list of here, so I'm just studying here. Some are with shaders, some are with volumetrics, some are... So very basic stuff. And here is the... So I'm picking the things that... Yeah, I'm learning the basics here, or relearning some other stuff. So this is the tutorial, Fields Introduction. For Fields Introduction is not very good, but now that I think, I don't remember to have learned anything substantial about fields. Already I have some idea of the concepts, but beyond that, I think much more important than this, the example is very, very cool, because in this sense it's a sort of an introduction, right, to fields, because it's used in a real case, let's say a complex case, but still a case that is very feasible, so a very didactic example. And so we can have this twisting with points, right? Not using instances. These are just the points, those losangle octahedral stuff, which in EV they are rendered as octahedrals, but we could change them to instances like spheres even. I've tried it. It doesn't sluggerish too much, so, but of course apparently the points, original points are better, while on cycles those octahedrals would become, that appear in the viewport, would appear as spheres spontaneously. Yeah, so this is what I want. However, because this is very, very tiny and you can control this in the geometry nodes things, it's okay. They don't need to be the cycle spheres spontaneous. They can be those octahedrals, and they would be, actually the octahedrals could be even work better for stars if you have this glare effect that I have, which I have actually in my scene. So we don't see it here, but if I render some, you might be able to see it. I'm not sure if it will work here, but so maybe those, let's see if there's some glare. Yeah, so you see this effect. So maybe these octahedrals are even better for this effect here, combined with compositing. But anyways, my test here suggests this is totally feasible with EV, and it's very good. Also, it's just that the points cannot be very big, otherwise we'll end up having this octahedral shapes, which might not be, here is very hard to see, but something like this is already too much, right, depending on the case. So no, we want something smaller, and this is enough, because then they get some material of emission, and this is just an animation here from keyframed, wait, how did that, oh yeah, the scale times, scene time, geometry nodes. So this is not even animation, like this is just animation keyframing from us, not even keyframing. This is a fake keyframing, and that sort of animates the rotation. The problem is that this setup doesn't allow the, so you see it resets to, I don't think I can recover it. So this is why probably we want to record this to an amount of frames which on at least this setup, right, just enough so that we can, as it's as the tutorial says, this is incredibly performative. So now I'm gonna test how to implement this in here, and well, I've done it with my first idea is the crudest one for now. I could improve the setup. It's just a cube mesh object transformed by modified, right, by the geometry nodes. Nothing special. So it's not even heavy. So, but it will play an animation here, or not an animation. It will. So I don't want to. I will bring a video, a screen. So I was doing this on another scene. I need to remember how the setup is made. I already have exported the video, then I watched another tutorial that would explain how we render a video with transparency, because in this case I just want the stars, don't want the background. So the background is transparency here, transparent. This is EV render engine, by the way, and I just need, yeah, so this is super easy to render. There we go, and even in the animation, so it's very easy. And if we can reduce here for the tests even, but here I've made it 100, so it's a bit large and it renders pretty well. Of course, if I complexify this, then this is starts to get worse. But now it's super performative, including for render. So this is so cool because they know the idea of the screens that we can have multiple cameras even we can render this from multiple things, and I can possibly use the same Blender file to render multiple galaxies just by changing the settings here, although ideally it would also be better to have different setups, right? So yeah, so maybe just different objects, entire different objects, or entire different setups here with some switches, and then we have multiple cameras, then we can yeah. So I'm also considering, should I have a space landscape Blender file for those things, putting all them stacking them together, or should I put this in the furniture blend file? So for so this I'm not sure. If I keep them in the furniture blend file, then maybe it starts to get too heavy, or mixing because I consider this space landscape. So that for me there's a difference between, I'm doing difference between the assets types. So have characters, have maybe textures, but that's another story. So characters, props, furnitures, assets, the stuff like that are game assets. Those things are props. Nothing too far from what we learn from the professional field. Then scenery, and for me there is another step which is landscape. So landscape are scenery, but they are like for the background, they are for compositing effects, they are like the final stage. They are not necessarily post-production, they might be part of production, but they are like those kind of stuff that we engage, assets that are for the scenery, but they are complementary, they are far away, we don't touch them directly, they don't interact too much with the characters and so forth. So they landscape, so it's a different category, it's my way of regarding it, but in principle they could be considered scenery, but they are. So this is why maybe this shouldn't go to, also for the scenery I have those modular, I want, yeah, so the scenery also won't go on props, they would have some, like for example, okay, I think I can close this. No, this is in a file. Okay, I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna save this already, starting to organize this setup directly in the asset library, and here gonna place this into yeah, so scenery, let's because I don't have, so scenery, this will be although technically this will be landscape, so landscape, space landscape, and that's it. Then I'm gonna probably put everything here, but for now it's this. I'm also gonna turn this into a mark as asset. I'm gonna update the library asset from here. So I'm gonna upgrade this UI here. We're gonna bring this geometry nodes, which doesn't have a thumbnail. Can I create a preview for it? I think it apparently we need okay, for some reason I can't seem to get a good I don't get quite why this is getting Okay, so there's something weird about this. So apparently I can't get this rendered from here. Maybe from a thumbnail. So whatever. We're gonna call this geometry nodes the okay, geometry nodes. We call this galaxy 01, and gonna bring it to, yeah, so here I'm gonna have to make a new one. Catalog, this will be, yeah, so I have to reorganize this thing. So 4 0, yeah, some things here are inadequate. So 0, actually 04 landscapes. We're gonna bring it there, then this will become 5. Changing these things. Oh, actually we can also make this 5. This materials will be 6. These worlds for coherence, yeah, let's keep them. Although, yeah, this will be confusing because the files which will contain the space landscapes will have both landscape and world, but here you can have some planets and galaxy like this that are not just shader stuff. Like the world is a world shader for background, and here this is, yeah, then 1 2 3 4 5 6, this is correct, and except that this will go to compositor, and this is, then we save, then we refresh. Alright, so because I already rendered this, it's on a video, I'm gonna bring this into a sort of a transparent a plane, right? So I'm gonna go to world origin. Let's see if I remember how this works. It's tricky, but it's actually not too hard. So I have this object. We want it to be a transparent plane. So first you can probably rotate like this. The orientation it's facing, maybe it will be better to flip. Okay, so start like that, then so I'm gonna cheat, right? I don't need to, I'm not sure this is gonna work, but it should be able to work, right? That we'll see what it will, provide it's far enough or distorted enough. So I'm gonna, let's leave it like this for now. Then probably I need to, yeah, let's change the some of the, then apply all transforms, right? No, apply just the scale and maybe look rotation. Okay, then I'm gonna call this, yeah, first let's parent this to, I don't know why it's a background. Yeah, let's just leave it in the, not sure it should be here actually, but whatever, it's outside of the room, so yeah, it's outside here, so just leave it here. So I'm gonna call this how I'm calling those stuff, well, galaxy for now. So just that, and maybe I could make landscape yeah, I don't have anything, so just galaxy is fine. And now the shader, it needs a special material. We're gonna add here, so new material, let's go and shading. shading workspace. Of course we don't want for the object, so right now it has got this terrible thing. No, we don't want that, so we're gonna bring an image texture. So this is how we bring videos. We're gonna connect, and I'm gonna UV, yes, so this probably we just want to reset. How much is the timeline here? We've got a timeline of, yeah, that's enough, 60 frames, that's good enough. Let's return to the that thing. Let's see, where is the shading? Okay, so I have organized my screens in here. So I have a special, it's like textures, but they are not image textures, they are videos, right? So there's a long time I was trying to do this for screens. So here is the video. Maybe you can play it. It has transparency. Oh yeah, it recorded transparency. So these apparently they don't got transparency, so they are old assets, like old videos records. But since the background is black and I've made the here I'm not sure, but I probably at that time I didn't know how to do, or they lost the transparency. I can't be sure right now, but this is sure it got transparency. We're gonna, so it's just about 2 megabytes, just open image here, and there we see it, but it seems to be not adequate for the cyclic. Won't help here, but I don't know the other options. Let's see, we need alpha here, but I'm not sure how I get it. And probably I need also to is that read by, oh yeah, this is read by, okay, the alpha is being read by the, but it's not playing the timeline. Oh yeah, we need to, so you see, this is confusing. Let's use some basic stuff here. Flat, alright, repeat, clip. Oh yeah, it's clip. No? Oh yeah, I need a start frame, end frame. No? No, 60 frames, start frame 1. No? Well, need to be playing probably. No. Alright, so this is cyclic auto refresh. Auto refresh, there we go. Of course 60 is too low. I think I have rendered the thing with plenty more frames here. The video should have about, yeah, I don't know how much I've rendered it. Possibly, yeah, so let's try just bigger here. Let's try 200 frames, start frame 0, cyclic, no I don't. So I think auto refresh might be good. Alpha seems to be working, but not for the not for EV. Or maybe this is like this because of the something about the compositor, I'm not sure. So let's see, movie, yes. nothing here seems to relate to transparent, so maybe it's about playing with this. But if I play here, we got and then it stops for, okay, so it stops by probably the animation. Maybe I've made just a short one, right? So this is enough. So up to 60, 50 actually. Alright, and then I'm gonna render just a frame here to see what happens to the, yeah, so there's a frame here which is, so Workbench is working. You said there would be octahedrals, but now I'm suffering with the, having trouble with the, why if it doesn't, okay, offset is just for deciding where to start, but I already fixed that in vector alpha. Okay, alpha straight. Maybe I need something else here. Clip is actually something else, right? It's not a video clip. Generated, no. Yeah, so it's just movie, and then the movie got broken, and then we need to bring it back. So videos, galaxy, we are back. Flat, extend movie, then 50, no, frames, 50, start frame. It's hard to read this stuff. Cyclic, auto refresh. Yeah, I don't want cyclic. So clearly this is not, it's not anything like that that is regulating the, okay, why movie is not, maybe it's the movie format which is incompatible with EV, but it's not about getting, do I need a transparent shader here? So it will be like add shader. It makes no sense because it will, right, it will make everything transparent, and mix shader. It will just destroy, right, it's just destroy the entire thing. So no, it shouldn't be like that. So might be a bug, but we're gonna check here some Blender, how to get transparent movie clip work in EV. How to use it transparent? No. Yeah, okay, this is what I've used for learning, but it's very specific problem. It could be something about the material itself for EV. So this is old stuff, right? I don't understand why this is so stupidly hidden in the UI, but could be something about, no, it's not here. But I stopped using this, but maybe it's, yeah, it's in here, but it's in here, the sidebar of the shader editor itself, so it might be something like, let's see, the material has, okay, this is a new material, so we're gonna call it, should I, yeah, I should assetize with this, but here, how did I bring this? No, this is, okay, so, right. So the movie itself, movie clip, is not an asset, like, is not marked as asset, but I could make the material one, but I would not like to make it in this particular scene, because I don't want to keep sourcing this thing from here. But I will at least save the material, maybe we can append it to some other file. Probably is what I would like to do, so clearly I don't know what I'm doing here, but nothing seems to be working. And yeah, so apparently we have surface, right? Maybe it needs to be alongside some of these options here. Transparency overlap. Render multiple transparent layers may introduce transparent sorting problems. Render method controls the blending and compare with certain features. Deterred controls the blending, allows for grayscale, hash transparency, and comparable with render paths and ray tracing. Also knows as depth red renders and blended. Controls the blending, allows for color transparency, but incompatible with render paths and ray tracing. Allows known as forward render. I have no idea, but none of them seems to work. What we have here, okay, this is for workbench, so I could totally use this setup anyways. See, it's transparent on, and it's not because of this, it's because of the image texture, which is being already read from here. But it's okay, we can also have this, doesn't matter, provided it needs to be selected anyways, but it's the only image texture node there is here. And so we can try to bring it closer to here. You can also try to distort. Alright, but we need to do something about this. Of course, if we are moving the camera here, we cannot render it so close, right? It needs to be further away. But the cool thing is that we could do very, very crazy stuff with this. But I want the transparency, so maybe it's the video format, but another solution would be not to use the movie clip, right? Hold on. There is something about, of course, this is not a shader. Okay, this now is a shader, but doesn't seem to work. What is thickness? I don't know what is thickness, but probably not this. So let's try here. Okay, so this is there is transparency, but it's clearly not doing the correct thing. So apparently, yes, we need to connect here with some. Alright, so maybe I need to do a mask. That would be ridiculous, right? The transparent should already be considered a mask, but okay, so like the mix color what is happening? Mixing doesn't recognize alpha. Overlays yeah, this is clearly not gonna. No, I don't know what I'm doing. So I need to, like, I need to use this as a mask. Like there is black. It clearly, the black is the alpha. For EV, for these settings on EV, of course. Yeah, so if any one of you guys know about this, but yeah, I feel like I'm very close to. It's just some stupid thing probably. So it's like, okay, so I would have a mask here. I just need to make transparent, right? As stupid as, I don't remember having to do that. So mix shader, and then we're gonna connect this and here, no, the here and here. Then we're gonna use a FAC that will use the black, that will be the alpha here, and then we connect this here and this. Of course this is wrong. We need something like the inverse here. There we go. So do I need to do this? Why those things look weird? they are, yeah, they look weird, but okay, so apparently this can work, but we're gonna try to, let's see what this does. We're gonna first we're gonna render here. We're getting some strange. It's the workbench, right? We are gonna change here. Not workbench, sorry. It's the grease pencil. It's doing the entire scene. No, we want collection and just dirty lounge there. Now that should be fine. Let's also render here an animation. Of course, there's just for that galaxy thing. We're gonna look for the layout, and we gonna do something like why not, we can distort this thing. We're gonna render 20 frames here on this quality here. Yeah, it could be just a test, right? But okay, let's do 50% here, because this might be long, so let's do 25, right? So it's doing dual compositing, so one is the first one, this is the EV, and this is EV, workbench, EV, workbench. I'm not sure, they seem a bit displaced, but no, it's just an illusion, right? Because EV is too dark, right? The end result should look a bit more like this area here in the camera, although it will be much better. So you don't see it here. We'll see it after we are frame 13. So we're gonna get very close. We are getting very close. So apparently the solution was to give a mask for the video clip for EV. Doesn't make sense to me yet, but I can't believe it's the only way, right? But okay, then okay, this was rendered. Let's Control F11 and yeah, the grease pencil seems to be bugged yet still. Shame. Maybe it didn't solve from I think it's coming from the character. Yeah, possibly. So grease pencil here. Let's try on the other scene. No, that updated. Alright, so if it's Dirty Lounge and Galaxy is there, it's not in Dirty Lounge, so it shouldn't be. Oh, hold on. This is the same name of the file, but no, this is a collection, right? Yeah, this is a collection indeed, so shouldn't be problem here. But then we have another problem is that the character has a grease pencil, but it's not here. I stopped bringing it, but maybe it's still rendering from the character. And let's say if I render just this shot here. Okay, so for some, no, this is the wrong renderer here. Okay. Okay, so I'm having very weird artifacts there, and this looks like a contour that is grease pencil, so it doesn't make sense to me. But there's another possibility, which is that maybe on the I'm having here, I'm using outline. Yeah, this is bricking, and maybe this also is bricking. So I'm gonna take this off. Also gonna update it here just when I replicate this in the future. So I'm not gonna use specular lighting anymore, nor outline here, because this will affect all the objects. It's not controllable. It can be good, but maybe this is causing some conflict between my rendering approach. It wasn't thoughtful enough here. So now we go back here on EV, and now let's try to just render this. It might even render faster. Okay, so we are still getting issues. Maybe we got some improvements, but it's also very dark. So I believe this is the... Okay, we can make a test. Maybe this one is bugged. I'm gonna take this off. Let's also try to render both things here. No, that's the wrong shot. I'm gonna bring the camera. Let's try to see if the character is receiving grease pencil. Yes, so there are apparently some contour, weird contours there. I don't understand why just there, and then alright, so we're gonna address this, probably some remaining very evil thing here. I'm gonna address directly the character here. This line art I think I'm gonna remove, because yeah, delete driver. I have other backups for that, so this line art, it's better for the scene, I believe. And it might be the one causing, then you have to have for every single object a linked collection. So this is very annoying. So what I can do is really so this line art collection I took off from the linked thing, but because these are linked objects, they are not, they are actually linked duplicates automatic. No, I've put them as linked duplicates here. Maybe they are still getting some, I don't know. Yeah, I've disabled the line art modifier. It's affecting the collection, so yeah, so since I'm not using this stuff in my latest approach, I think it will be safe to remove all this, and so cleaning up this yeah, not delete but unlink all that. All right, delete this collection, delete this collection. This I'm still working on. Let's see. Yeah, so this is doesn't matter, and this is just a backup for the grease pencils. So I'm going to save. If I test to render something here, there shouldn't be line art. So this is not a serious problem, not having the grease pencil for the... I am rendering on cycles, probably because I had... It's not a big trouble here to not have the grease pencil here, because what I'm doing for the characters, right, to work in compositing is to compose them actually alongside the scenes. Otherwise we can make very good compositing on themselves, but then when it comes to compositing them into the scenes, what we made here in terms of compositing might not even work anymore. So it's a waste of it. It's good for experimenting station, but then it's not good for workflow. So that's what I found out. So it's better to do the compositing test directly in situ, in a good in a place where the character will actually be showcasted, right? So now I'm gonna return there. Apparently I can't. Now I need to click the thing, so it could be the armature object, for example. Return to original file. We're gonna check now. Yeah, I can probably close this this thing here. Now we'll see what happens. So if it's still rendering this weird stuff, yeah, it is still rendering this weird stuff. So the character is still getting some black outlines for no reason. It looks like something about the glass material, because it only appears in these areas. And it appears when she's facing this glass. I have no idea what could be causing this effect, but if I render anything else like here, or it could be this render. Here is happening too. Oh, I see. Maybe it's the sharpener and the compositor. So maybe I need to... Okay, we're gonna... check here some stuff, right? So could be a better way to make the analysis. Okay, so you see, this is not... This is not creating outlines. Here, this is trying to create some outlines, but it's not... diamond, yeah, so this diamond sharp maybe are creating some stuff. When I add the background, so you see that these are very bad from Workbench, but also when we compose them, the video gets very, yeah, on EV this emission is terrible. I think it starts to get, okay, so this diamond sharp is affecting, there are little speckles there, so let's turn it off. Possibly ambient occlusion. Maybe I need to render the galaxy as just as a background thing, like just on here. No, it is in the background only, so why it is not? It is on the background, but I've added it to, it is here. It is, oh yeah, we need to, of course, we don't want this to be rendered here. As for Workbench, we also will, I still need the camera though. And here, okay, so I have a problem here. I need to render it, but I don't want to. Okay, why this is disappeared? Of course, because you're not looking at here. Okay, let's return to compositor. Then I take off this sharpener. Yeah, the sharpener sort of helps there to also creates the black line, but yes, there's something about something happens after the mix. Looks like these transparency things. Interesting. These transparency things were causing some, especially this one on screen. I can't read alpha, includes alpha second input in this operation. So the alpha from Workbench. The second one doesn't affect too much, but this was for another use case. So interesting. So something about these alphas. I never understood this very well. Okay, but start to, and then we're having bad the emission for this stuff is too strong. Maybe that material, oh, because it's emissioning twice maybe. No, it's I want the galaxy here because it already had an emission from the original, so why does it need another emission? Yeah, just because. So let's try just diffuse, and yeah, this is probably not gonna work, but not gonna be good, right? But or I get an emission with a very low value, and that should work already because okay, let's try. Let's see what happens. Okay, and I still am getting this artifact. So it might be the glass that is causing this after all. Because if I try to render from outside, no, I still get, making sure. Yeah, we are getting this crazy stuff, so it's not horrible, but it makes no sense to the. So maybe I need to get something like that. Ah, could be interesting. Okay, so apparently that the default the default is bad. Okay, so I think this is what the glass material is not getting. So in principle, it's just this that we need to change. Then this glass here, it's not the right material. We need to select glass outer space, but I cannot change it from here. I need to go back to the original place. So this is annoying. So here, but I know another way to do that. So we're gonna, this will open a new blend file. We're gonna go to the glass outer space, click this one, open blend file. So I'm just gonna change it for itself, materials. Well, let's just go to shading, look object, and look for the glass out space. I just need this. We are going to options, and it's already blended. So I'll have to make tests with this material apparently. To see Alright, now the emission is too low of the video, right? So it's not here. It's actually this. Now this is the glass. I need it here. The other thing is maybe I'm rendering this with so much low quality that it is being disrupted, so I'm gonna and of course it is distorted, but this we can scale like out here. We're gonna augment here to, it's just one. Let's render this. Alright, so I'm not getting those artifacts here, or not too much at least. The glass doesn't seem to be affecting the galaxy in a terrible way. Oh, there's something wrong here. Let's re-render this. Yeah, not so much better, but whatever. Then we gonna render the animation, right? And see what... is there anything else I can do with that? Yeah, this will be terrible. We just want to see some effect there, so okay, we don't do this. Then here we're gonna do 50. The time line I'm gonna render like 12 and Control F12. This is sci-fi, so why the galaxy is rotating in real time like that fast is out of... It's not the question to be... not something like that. It's story driven. I can decide something why this is happening in this universe later on. 12, okay, so this one the less. Let's see what happens here. Apparently we got some glitching stuff there. Sadly, because it's a lot of time spent here. Might be just a mistake in the shading again. Frame. Well, maybe auto refresh. Maybe it got broken. Ah, I know. Maybe it's the presence of this shader in the. Well, I don't know what's happening to it here. Maybe it's conflicting. No, it was just not appearing. Okay. Let's try again. What is auto refresh? Always refresh image on frame change. Alright. Oh yeah, it's too little. It's natural, so it was just we needed a longer to see something cleaner, right? So 40 is already good. So I'm gonna return to the room, Control Alt 0, numpad 0, and yeah, so here I'm gonna just render with maybe reducing the out thing here, 33%, whatever. Control F12. Now before that, let's also recover this. Here we're gonna get the grease pencil with so I have a simplify operator. It's in render, so it says simplify. I'm gonna, when I turn, okay, what is the logic? When I turn simplify on, it turns this off. Okay, so it will be copy as new driver, paste driver. So that's exactly disable simplify, enable grease pen. So that means that this is for visualization and this is for rendering. Alright, so I'm gonna use this for rendering. Also gonna change here the grease pencil stuff. Dirty Lounge, yes, just this collection, and we're going to, that's it. Oh yeah, then this will have a problem here. I'm gonna put this collection inside Dirty Lounge so it gets also, yeah, now Grease Pencil is working on the character as well. Alright. And it shouldn't be working on the Control F12. This will take, well, what's happening? that it is not rendering. Alright, seems that it is glitched. I'm on EV, I'm in the first scene. I have start frame, end frame. I can render videos, I can render yes, nothing is incorrect, so why it doesn't... Okay, maybe Blender is going crazy, so I'm gonna reopen Blender here. Okay, F12 will render this. Okay, this is nice, and then we can try to get a little more. Let's take the freedom to expand this. Okay. So we're gonna control F12. Width not divisible. Ah, there's something about this. Oh, maybe it's the... okay. It happens, yeah, so apparently they need to synchronize, right? I won't drive this, but it will be ideal, right? Let's say copy data path. No, copy as new driver. Paste. No, I think this will work, because when I update, if the names are correct. No. Copy as new driver. I don't think this will work. Paste. No, you can't do that. Yeah, so it doesn't work. Add driver. No, cannot. Unfortunately, we can't do that. So one scene, the two scenes were trying to render the same shots, but with different resolution, so that was probably creating conflict. I needed to change both. The proportions would follow, but not something about the calculations for the resolution. A simple thing. So we are rendering 40 frames, or 1/4 of the process. So unfortunately, the emission, something about the lighting is not working. I could just bring the entire geometry nodes set up in here, right, instead of the video. So the video for this case is not being super helpful. There's already the problem of, I did that for more being more performative, right? But then you have the problem with the transparency, I solved that. Then you have the problem with the glass, but this I was having anyways. Then I have the problem with the, that's the last problem. Yeah, the worst problem though is this, the lighting, the effect that gets the, while if it was the object from geometry nodes modifications, it will be straight in the scene, so it will render much more cleaner. And since the performance was not too bad, if I just bring that geometry node as a linked asset, right, the object in which the geometry nodes modifier is, then it will still not run as a video, so it will probably be heavier, but might, in a scene like this, might just work. Okay, we are at, where, this is the last one, I guess, last frame. Alright, let's check here, Control F11. So you have this thing going on. And yeah, it's very cheesy. I think that this is working. So basically the compositing is working. Yeah, the quality here is horrible, but of course this will be a small thumbnail. The idea of bringing this galaxy with video clips, though, it's a bit sad, right? But it can work, so I'm not gonna discard this possibility, but it's a bit cumbersome, and I would prefer usually having the full stuff, right? So what I'm going to do, so it's gonna just go back here. Let's bring this back. Yeah, the distortion of the makes it not very nice to be done in this particular way, so I need to it was very far and very big, right? So we can try to cheat and this a bit too close here. Okay, let's render this and see if we get any good results. it's a good complement to whatever is there. So the cool thing, the best things though, is that indeed I found how not only I was able to do some sort of galaxy-like stuff, I was able to make it in geometry nodes, animate it, or let it run in this way, then get it as a video, or theoretically easy to get the geometry. You need to check the performance of this. This is a small scene currently, so it's no problem. And as I explained, by linking the asset, galaxy asset, that will also make it probably very low wave. But it's a concern, because whichever is, in my experience, whichever is playing in real time will probably be bad for playback. We'll have to be managing what is showing the scene. Even if it's linked, maybe it will affect playback, and that will be terrible for at least 3D animation projects. Maybe not so much for 3D webcomics, although since I want to make some animations, playback is still important. Yeah, posing is important, so definitely it's important, but less important than for 3D, straight 3D animation filmmaking. So let's get here what I'm doing. I need to render, save this render thing. Alright, so this is simple render, but at least that will show that we are capable. And so imagine the amount of stuff like that we can do, like to compose a scene. So asteroids, galaxies, and all types of galaxies. Actually, you see what is the background are those the matrix of the universe. No, it's some sort of galaxy cluster. There's a name for that, I'm not sure, don't remember right now. So yeah, so this totally solved the conceptual problems of making this galaxy, at least for now. With what I've learned from here, from that tutorial and many others that I'm following, I'm free now I know how to make many kinds of galaxies. Volumetrics would be another domain, but I'm concerned about performance. So, but the results can be very nice as well. We'll check, but maybe this will be a next stage. So today it will be this, folks. Unfortunately not too much, but I wanted to show this progress. Space landscape. So we got asteroids, ring planet. Maybe we'll do the ring planet first, close to then we gonna props, will be like cabinet shelves, yeah, desks, and all this wood stuff, probably maybe some plastic stuff. We're gonna, so be then these plants, yeah, vegetation. Then this will imply I'll try some sap, tree gen sap, something free extension on that. I already know a little how to use, so I'm a bit familiar with that, but I want to simplify it, because I want there's too much from there that I would need, so I just want to see if I can use this to create my own planned assets here in a creative way. Otherwise, if it doesn't help, because I would like to extrude stuff, like, so even geometry nodes can come in handy for that, like, so I'm trying to learn a tutorial for making one's own. I'm gonna show what is it like. I haven't watched, it's 30 minutes long, so procedural tree generator. So this is like, now this is just, so apparently this will teach how will show an example, many examples of how to. It's not necessarily how to make your own SAP generator extension, but it's like if you want to like extrude curves and then start to move the branch in your own way, then with your own foliage, then all that. I think this is worth knowing. I think add-ons, whichever that is ready-made, right? It's great, but need to be. Sometimes it's the best thing to do, even for learning purpose, but sometimes you just want something more customized, and then I think it's a hard for example, let's say in rigging, I do a lot of rigging. So in rigging, there's a lot of tools, or Blender itself, that vanilla Blender, that use stuff that we take for granted, right? Like wave paint, right? Okay, what would be if there wasn't wave paint, right? For I'm doing no, let's get something else, like bendy bones. Okay, imagine if bendy bones were an add-on, right, an extension instead of vanilla. So it's like a bit like this stuff, right? It's good to use the whichever we can and feel comfortable with, but in the case of plants, yeah, the bendy bones is not a good example. The presets might not be good for certain workflow, might not be sufficient for certain of course, because it will bring I think it's closer to Rigify, like it will give you an animal rig, but maybe the animal rig is overly complicated, yet, and it is. Of course, it's a Rigify, it's advanced rigging, and then many things there maybe we don't want to be dealing with. We want something different, we want something more customized. So in this sense, tree gen, there are not all the trees that I need and all sorts of trees, so it's not super developed. It gives tons of options, so that's pretty cool, customization, but it's focused on a certain perception of plants, and that perception of plants, so if you just use this perception of the assets, which is usually hard to work on top of it in a good workflow, right, because you cannot change the structure very well or destroy especially for rigging, but maybe can apply to the plants. But there is an advantage, the plants, once you plant it there, plant the plant, you customize it, then it is free to be, let's say, editing the meshes, the curve. I'm not exactly sure how the curve works. The tree is made of a curve object. You can then convert it to a mesh. I want to know if I can, how good I can edit the curve object before converting it to mesh. If allows me to get some procedural worker developments, customization of the plants. Otherwise, this would be like a solution like that would be much more funnier, because you'll make your own procedural process workflow, right? And that is what I would like to see done. It will be very good here for some ferns. Imagine you can extrude the branches, and then they already come with leaves and so forth, right? Can go very wild, and so this could be super useful. And if you know how to make this stuff, just learn a little of the experimental little, and then you're ready to go. Yeah, with geometry nodes. So folks, sorry for the conversation here, but this is what I had for today. So hope that was useful or inspiring at least. We'll tomorrow we'll be back with full strength, and then we're gonna go back to this assets making. So I'll be learning more about the plant gen, and then we'll try to apply those knowledge in right here. And then I need the character rigging, yeah, because I can't myself, I cannot escape from that. Maybe you can. Yeah, so this, just checking if I messed up anything in the nodes here. Yes, this one. Re-enable this. Okay, all this seems correct. This is correct, yes. All good, yes. Alright, so the kind of renders we're getting are here. Let's one last time. I see the line art. Okay, and it's not destroying the, so apparently what I did, fix the artifacts that were happening into the glass. So I don't even remember what I did, but okay, it's sort of working now. And see how cool this grease pencil is. Line art grease pencil can be on certain, yeah, on the global rendering of everything, right? So it's not rendering on this kind of stuff though. I've reduced that. It's in another collection, a background collection. And yes, and for the animation here of the spiral galaxy, this on a very low resolution, but to save time. This is cheating, of course. We can do better. And this is a geometry node setup, but it was exported, just saved as a video. So I was trying to make these planar shapes here, right? And we can populate the, yeah, why not doing this? But it's very hard to see them, right? Anyways, so that's it, folks. Thanks for watching. Take care and happy blending. See you along the weekend or the week, right? We'll be doing this every day, and yeah, so very close to, I'd say, 2 weeks for the real storytelling process. See you soon, folks. Good luck in your projects.